problem is I'm going to be snuffling this whole time.
I get it, sniffly. Anyways, welcome to Trash Talk with your hosts, Alex and Brie. And today we're talking about what makes a good protagonist in the realm of writing, enjoyability to watch, and relatability to the character. I can't talk today, and you're stuffed up. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, welcome to Trash Talk. And first point, we're just going to point out what are some examples of a good, bad, and boring protagonist and explaining what leads them to be this way. Is it purely because of the writing? Is it voice acting? Is it just the overall plot? What are the actual mechanics to making a protagonist happen? So let's talk about good protagonists, because I think that's the most memorable thing that we can do, is talk about people we like and that we've seen in shows. Brie, you got any examples, or should I go after it?
Go for it.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Growing up watching anime, I'd say a good protagonist, not necessarily like the most complex character, but I liked Goku when I was a kid.
Okay.
I mean, think about it. Like, he's very consistent. He's always trying to do, like, make friends and, like, fight the bad guys and whatnot. It's like, I compare it to, like, Goku, Ash Ketchum.
I was gonna say, yeah, Ash Ketchum.
Yeah, like, those kind of people, like, those
classic.
Right,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, Ash Ketchum's out there, I don't know, fighting Frieza to be the next Hokage. Yeah, those were, like, the classic, like, good, protagonists. And then if you want to go back farther, you could do, like, what's-his-butt from, like, Fist of the North Star.
One Punch Man.
One Punch Man, yeah. Saitama was a great example of, like, a new age kind of, like, protagonist, because he helps develop that sense of empathy towards your character, because he even, like, delves into the realm of just being, like, absurdly overpowered, which can be very boring in its own right, but they get a good twist on it, which makes it very watchable.
I also like some protags that narrate, like Saiki K.
Saiki K is a very fun protagonist to watch. Even though he'd probably say he's not the protagonist and wants to be left alone. Yeah. Those are pretty good protagonists. And we'll get into reasons why later of why we think they're good. Let's go to a bad protagonist. What makes a bad last good protagonist, remember, is at least enjoyable to watch, was Light Yagami from Death Note.
Oh, yeah.
I really liked him. He's kind of a classic one up there, which you put on a higher standard. Another one would be like Kamina from Gurren Lagann. I thought he was the protagonist for most of the show until they killed him off.
Oh, okay.
Spoilers for a decade-year-old show. Sorry. Anyways, yeah, so let's talk about bad protagonists and what makes them just insufferable.
Come up with one.
Come up with one? That douchebag that's in another world with my smartphone. See, I hate people so much that I forget their name, and it's just raw anger that I can't control.
I just always forget their names.
Yeah, there's the kid from Black Clover, who's basically a worse version of Naruto.
Oh my. Oh my.
Yeah, I don't even remember what his name is either, but the main protagonist of Black Clover, the blonde kid, he's terrible. Just because I think that's a lazy writing standpoint. Like, they could make him more complex. I haven't watched more of the show past, like, the first 10 episodes, but I'll be talking about it probably sometime in the future, and it's bad. Every harem protagonist ever, or, yeah, basically...
I was actually about to say that. Any protag in a harem, literally, they are the most uninteresting character of the entire show. Yeah,
except for probably the protagonist of... Sorry, this is biased, but the protagonist of High School DxD, it is a harem. I do like the protagonist. What the hell's his name? Hyodo, that's his last name. I remember that, but not his first name, what they fucking call him. Also, this is not a children's podcast, obviously, because I'm swearing. Anyways, so yeah, those are, like, bad examples of protagonists, because we just can't think of any, because, like, we block them from our memory.
Well, okay, still Shiro, though, from...
Shiro from Fate Stay?
Yeah. Yeah, Stay Night. I'm sorry, but his female counterpart was so much more interesting.
Rin was more interesting to listen to.
So much more interesting.
Even, like, the first one, like, Kuritsugu was a fun character to, like, follow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even Apocrypha, what the hell was his name? The guy with the scar on his face. Who had a...
Oh, yeah. Who was it Mordred?
Mordred,
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he was
He's the
fun.
bounty hunter kind of guy.
Yeah, they had some interesting characters. It's just that show suffered from, here's 30 characters and everybody gets 14 seconds of screen time.
Yeah. Oh, seriously. Was there even a protag, really? Oh, well, the main villain. Yeah.
The main villain, yeah, but he's a villain. He's not a protagonist.
You know what? But it was all about him.
The protagonist of that show could be, like, considered Sieg, but I didn't like Sieg.
Yeah, actually, I can agree with you. I liked his I like, who was it that embodied him? Was that
Siegfried?
Saber?
Saber, yeah.
Yeah, Saber embodied him. Saber was cool. Even Siegfried towards the end developed some coolness, but other than that, he was just kind of a big
for
character.
like 70% of that, he was just so
Yeah.
boring.
Mm-hmm.
And just like, I understand that like they're trying to build him up and it's like has a slavery theme going on, like trying to break oppression a little bit. And also just like find your own freedom and like yada yada. But no, he was just
Have the heart of a killing saber guy.
yeah, like the way that they try to introduce the concept of freedom through Shiro, whatever the fuck his name is. Shiro Amakasu.
Mm-hmm.
By enslaving humanity, essentially.
Basically.
It was a fun one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so those are some bad ones. So let's do the hardest category. Boring protagonists.
Boring.
Ones that you put up with, but really do not steal the limelight at all.
Every guy in a harem.
We already covered that. You can't use it twice.
I'm sorry, but that's where they fall. It's not even that they're bad. It's that they just are the most boring character. And we talked about this last time in the over-sexualization of anime, where it's literally the most blank personality guy that ends up with like 3 or 4 or more women with him, right?
Yeah.
Because the idea is that you can project yourself into the personality of this guy because he's literally so blank.
Yeah. No, that's a very good point to make, but you could also make the argument, so I'm thinking like boring people, it's like you could also jump back to like major shonen like shows that don't have like a lot of character development. So you could even make a case that like Goku's a boring protagonist. I think he's a good one, but I think he's also a boring one.
Can't use it twice, Alex.
I know. I'm breaking my own rules. I'm terrible. Yeah, boring protagonists I think are the most insidious of the bunch, considering just how they keep sucking you in to watch the show, and it just doesn't feel great. Here's one that I think was boring for the most part was, I don't know, people might yell at me for this, Edward Elric.
Oh, really?
I think he was kind of a boring protagonist. He was not bad by any stretch, but there were so many other cool people having, like, plot lines going on that he didn't have a lot of growth until, like,
the end.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, he was consistent, but consistently boring.
Right.
But he was never bad enough to, like, make the show unwatchable, or it's like, I can't watch it. It's like, oh, because this shitty guy's here again.
Right.
And it's like, no, it's like, you put up with him, he's there.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, it's like, some people it might be their favorite character, but it definitely wasn't mine.
I have another one. I'm trying to find his name.
Okay.
And it is breaking me. I can't find
What show is it?
Well, I tried to have you watch this show because I've heard so many amazing things about the show, so I wanted to watch the show.
Oh boy.
And people are going to be mad about this one too.
Okay. But you do know who you're talking to. I'm the guy that watches shitty anime, not good anime.
I know. And I'm trying to find his name, and I'm so sorry for the people who know his name right off the top of their head, because I'm not going to find it.
Also, worst protagonist, Ninja Slayer. Gotta have a shout out. Every podcast, Ninja Slayer. Worst protagonist I've ever seen. Holy shit.
It is the main boy that, the protagonist, he's like a little boy in the beginning of the show, Attack on Titans.
Oh, Attack on Titan?
Yeah, I'm sorry. His sister was so much cooler, whoever she was.
To be fair, unpopular opinion, I don't like Attack on Titan.
Well, we barely watched any.
No, I have watched more in my own time.
Have you?
Yeah, I've watched all of season 1. I could not care less about that show. Same with Tokyo Ghoul. I do not care about Tokyo Ghoul. I find the main character meh. I mean,
Aaron
yeah.
is his name. Yeah, I'm sorry, but the Mikasa or whoever the girl was, so much cooler. So much cooler. She had that kind of like that cold blue. What do they call it? Cool blue face where it's like you're stoned, but there's so much passion behind it, and she's just like...
I call that the constipation phase.
Oh, shush. It was, her moves were better. Her training seemed to get through her better. She was making more achievements. He was just like the loud little kid in everyone's way.
Which kind of... It can work as a double-edged sword, really, because you can have that be an example of where the protagonist can go and how they can develop, and it's like, this is something they could achieve. Or that kind of character just overshadows the protagonist.
And
it makes you want,
a huge thing that happens.
It makes you just be like, hey, I want a series about that person because they're so much cooler.
But that's what makes that protagonist boring. They were so boring that a sub-character overshadowed them.
Right, and you just start watching for that sub-character or something, and it's...
Yeah.
And that's not the point of the show.
It's like in Brotherhood, in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, when I'm like, I like Alex Stronghold? Armstrong, something like that.
Come on.
I'm sorry, I just know him by Alex because your name is Alex.
Right.
I love him. Every time him or his family, his sister, whoever popped up on screen, I was excited.
No, they had good writing. They're comic relief, but they're also serious and
oh yeah, his sister is not comic relief.
I know that. Ice Queen.
She was so cool, though.
But even, like... We'll even talk about another good one. The main character of Kakegurui.
Oh.
Yumiko.
Okay.
I liked her.
Okay.
I thought she was a good protagonist. I mean, for a gambling show.
Well, would you say she was the protagonist in that?
Of course.
I don't know.
I mean, who's the real villain here, huh? The system. The system is the villain. The girl that she duels at the end, that's the head of the student council, she's not the villain. They're all victims of the same system.
True, I guess. I don't know that you could call her the protag, though. Could you?
I would call her the protagonist.
I thought that the dude was.
The dude? No,
he was the one literally part of everything. Yeah, but he introduces everyone. He's the main focus for a while.
Yeah, he's a good character, but he is not the protagonist. Yumiko is.
True. I'm trying to find... I have one more. This is gonna break my heart. I actually really like Kill la Kill. I like Kill la Kill.
I don't think that's something that is a bad opinion, because I think a lot of people like Kill la Kill.
I was turned on to it a long time ago, and there were some scenes that just were not necessary. There were some things that were not necessary. We could go back to our last podcast about over-sexualizing things, but we're not going to. Mm-hmm. I really liked Kill la Kill. I was not a huge fan of the protag, Ryuko. No.
Riko was alright.
I don't...
I'm a sucker for Satsuki, but whatever.
My thing, though, is you just had a super angry person who you got flashes of their past with a giant scissor and then, like, a talking uniform versus your super cool villains, the president, the student council president, and then on top of that, her mom. Her mom was, like, the ultimate villain, and her mom was, like, banging. It was so cool. It was so cool.
And let's not forget Nudist Beach.
Nudist Beach was really, really cool. There were so many cool, fun, entertaining elements to that show.
Those were, like, side elements, though, but, like...
It made her look so boring.
For a bit.
Even her friend was so much cooler than she was.
Her friend was comic relief, okay? She was stereotyped from the beginning to be comic relief.
But she like had the heart and the compassion.
I know.
And
the jowls to hold all that food.
It's her you fell in love with, honestly. Like, I think there was at one point when her life was at danger, and like that, my heart just broke. Because it was her I've been in love with. This other chick, I just want her to find her other half of her scissor.
I know.
Like, honestly,
I mean, when you break down plot points like that, yeah, they can sound kind of silly.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, the other protagonist. Let's talk about, like, some more recent stuff. Just because that's what's popping. Because people are watching that kind of stuff. So, good protagonist. Drama. There was a Recovery of an MMO Junkie, which probably a lot of people have watched. I like the protagonist of that. Purple-haired girl. Shout out to you. I don't remember her name. It was dumb. The character of Agretsuku? It's on Netflix. It's about, like, animal people, like, dealing with office work.
Obviously.
Yeah, she's, like, got anxiety about, like, social situations. She hates her job because her boss is mean, and she goes to karaoke and screams death metal. And she's a cat. It's great. We'll have to watch it.
That one I think I would like to watch.
Yeah, I binge watched that, and it was fantastic. Main character, that was great, and sub characters all were pretty complex. I mean, I didn't have any complaints about that show. Okay. So it'll be never on this channel. I know. Okay, so we talked about like good protagonists. Let's dive into villains. Okay. What are some good villains? Quote unquote by like show standards.
The Kill la Kill villains. I'm sorry, but there's like
I guess we're sticking on that.
Okay, no, this is so cool because every time you get further into the show and you think you know who you're going to hate, it changes. Okay, so you got the student council president.
Sure.
You're thinking, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. But then you find out that it's her freaking tailor that's done all the damage here. Okay, and her tailor, I would love to cosplay her tailor. Her tailor is amazing and mind-blowing. Heck, I might even want to cosplay with her arms missing because that's like the most epic moment in that show is her literally creating outfits that are magical and strong and powerful with no arms. Like, yeah. Wonderful. But then you find out, student council president's mom is just as psycho, if not more. And she's like trying to rule the world with clothes. Like, I loved every element of that. And like the mom was in rainbows and white and so cool.
I know. It's like Cruella de Vil like cranked up to 12.
I loved it.
Okay, so any other villains that speak to you that you really liked? I mean, we talked about Death Note. I like L as a villain. He is the villain. Yeah,
I guess he would be. And then his
because it's all about point of view.
Well, and then the guy that takes over,
Nier, I don't like him.
Nier wasn't quite as cool. He almost felt kind of like filler there for a little bit.
It was filler after they got rid of L, because that's just
well, they're like, hey, what next genius is going to try and take down L? And then, of course, they changed the freaking show from what the manga, like, ended in, and it...
I know, it was terrible.
Yeah.
There's no good villains in One Punch Man.
Well, no one wins against
Exactly,
One Punch
there's
Man.
nothing consistent.
No.
Mob Psycho 100 is pretty good for... it has an okay protagonist. No real villains, quote-unquote, to say.
Okay.
It just kind of cycles through people. Yeah, longer shows that, like... There are some other good villains that are out there.
So, even if there's not a villain, is there an antagonist in those shows?
Well, yeah, it's considering, like, what would be the antagonist.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like... Is it against, like, the Empire or system or something like that? Or is it, like, an individual? Is it condensed?
So... what do you think about, now that we're done with the show, Murder Princess?
Oh, okay.
What do you think about the antagonist?
The antagonist? Like who I'd brand as the main antagonist?
True, yeah, sure. Go for it.
Probably the witch.
Right. So, I'm thinking that, too. I'm also thinking that she was a horrible villain. Like...
Well, okay, so first off, it's a 6-episode, like...
It's not 6 episodes. It's
yes,
like
it is 6 episodes. Want to check right now?
We can.
We're going to check right now.
Okay, I'm pretty sure it's
stand
like
by,
8.
everybody.
I'm pretty sure it's like 8. I remember.
You're about to get your socks blown off.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
My socks. I'm not wearing any.
Exactly. You just proved my point. Oh.
Oh my god.
Oh.
What?
Oh.
I could swear.
Oh, guess who's right?
Okay. It doesn't even matter, first of all, because we're not talking about how many episodes are in it. We're talking about the villain. I personally was not a fan of the witch, just because it's like she kind of came out of nowhere. Yeah, there was like a flash of her face in a cloak. Oh, mysterious person watching over the castle. Who is she?
Yeah.
But, you know, it just...
So, also for villains, I'd also like to point out, like, for something against the system, psychopaths. Considering the villain is the system that they've built themselves that's trying to, like, control society.
Okay.
That's pretty good. For, like, another mystery kind of, like, anime, it would be Shin Megami Tensei. If you're not familiar, it's basically a bunch of, like, students are placed inside a school that's in quarantine because the outside world has gone to shit.
Of course.
And they don't know that. And basically... to get your freedom from this crazy school, which is controlled by, like, a demonic bear, is you have to get away with murder on one of your classmates.
Ooh, what?
Yeah.
Why is that a thing?
Because that's what the demon declares the thing.
Oh, okay, so there's a demon...
There's a demon, but the way the plot shakes out, it's... The end antagonist is not what I saw coming, but it was pretty cool.
Are you going to consider Persona 5 as an anime?
I guess I have to. Unfortunately, I'm going to talk about Persona 5 on my channel at some bit. The animation, not the game. I have very big issues with the animation. Because I like the Persona 4 animation, which the Persona 4 villain was very good.
I don't think we finished that.
You have not. I have.
The only villain I know of is that little psycho kid. But I know he's not the main villain.
Right.
Like, it's obvious he's not.
You're going to find out who the real villain is.
I think it's one of the party members.
You might be right.
I'm probably right, considering that's how
Akechi.
Persona...
Spoilers, it's Akechi.
That's not how that works. He's wrong, guys. It's not even a character in there.
Yeah. I guess something that doesn't have good antagonists is Pokemon. They kind of ran out of that after Gary Oak didn't show up anymore.
Oh, well, Team Rocket.
Team Rocket!
Again.
Oh my god. Team Rocket, come on.
Team Rocket at least is consistent, but they are doomed to fail. Always.
You know who we forgot about for good protagonist?
What?
Trevor Belmont from Castlevania.
Oh my god. Why are you considering him an antagonist?
Protagonist.
Oh,
I said
Protag.
we forgot, yeah.
Oh, yes. That entire show.
That man is my spirit animal.
That entire show is amazing.
Yeah. Just thinking of things I've watched. Code Geass. Lelouch Lamperouge. I believe that's his name. He's the protagonist. He's interesting enough. The main character in Rio from Devilman Crybaby was a good antagonist.
Okay.
I liked that.
Okay.
Thinking of more stuff for antagonist, protagonist stuff.
What about in
Hunter x Hunter had a pretty good antagonist in Hisoka. That was just reoccurring.
Okay.
I liked him a lot.
What do you think about the Devil's a part-timer?
Devil's a part-timer? It didn't have a real strong antagonist, but the protagonist, Lucifer, or whatever his name is.
Mm-hmm. The devil.
Yeah, the devil was fun. Yeah, so... No, he was pretty fun. See, this is the problem. You ask me about, like, what good shows are, and I can't think of any because I'm just constantly feeding garbage into my system.
Right.
And I just get backed up.
You're polluted.
Very much so.
You're polluted.
Like, more than
At some
I
point, we're
be.
going to have to do a podcast on Americanized kind of anime shows, because I've got some that I love.
I know that you
and
do.
It's so hard not to try and, like, mix them in with these, because they're just not on the same... They're not the same category. They're just not.
I guess one that was weird that didn't have a really strong protagonist, for me, but had good antagonist, was Ghost in the Shell. You ever watch that?
Isn't that a movie?
See how like washed we are. No, it started as an anime. It was a movie adaptation.
I know it is a Japanese created story. And I know that Scarlett Johansson whitewashed the character, unfortunately.
Oh, heavily. Yeah, it was
I kind of felt bad about that because it's not like she did a bad job on it as much as it just wasn't her role to play.
True. So let's talk about the best protagonist ever, Hamtaro.
What? No.
Yeah, he's now in Overwatch. Didn't you hear?
No. God.
It's okay. Yeah. Man, it's so hard to think of, like, good shows I've watched.
I don't know. I go all the way back to, like... Well, not all the way back, but I go back to, like, Sailor Moon and Kiki's Delivery Service and all that kind of stuff.
Inuyasha?
I could say Inuyasha was my boy, thank you. Actually, let's go into, like, for Sailor Moon, right? Sailor Moon's supposed to be... Usagi's supposed to be the main character, right?
I have to say right now, I have not watched a lot of Sailor Moon.
I have. I'm okay. I'm okay on the inside.
Yeah, you're my top authority on the subject.
So, Usagi is someone that as a kid, I really, really liked. As an adult watching it, I really, really hate. And then with the new adaptations of Sailor Moon, I really, really don't care anymore. Like, it is just all over bad, and it's a whole subject on its own. But you kind of understand the basis of Usagi. She's a crybaby, but yet she's supposed to save the world. She ends up being the Moon Princess. She's like super head over heels in love with Tuxedo Mask.
It's one of those very early anime where it's like, you have so much responsibility. Take action.
Yeah, she is like,
even though, like,
a 14-year-old little girl.
Right.
With hella long legs, let's be real. But
to be fair, if somebody told me I had to save the world in like 10 minutes, I'd act like a 14-year-old girl about that. I'd not be ready. I'd be...
The thing that frustrates me is that Sailor Moon is one of those characters that as a kid, you fall in love with. But I find like Sailor Mercury and Sailor Jupiter to be some of the more like amazing, complex characters, and they overshadow her constantly. So
should they have like their own spin-off show?
No, I think that they just need to kind of gravitate away from Usagi's in love with someone now. Oh my god. You know? And Rini, she was so underrated for how amazing she is.
Show. It's recent. I forgot I watched it because I remembered season 3's coming out. Overlord.
What is that?
Oh my gosh. Are you in for a treat?
No, I'm not.
Okay, Overlord's one of those... I thought it was going to be one of those general isekai shows where it's like, protagonist is like trapped in an MMO. Shit goes down.
Okay.
Basically, he's left alone in his guild. All his guildmates have left. The servers have shut down, and he's like waiting for it to just close down. And he's going to log out and go back to his regular life. Mm-hmm. It doesn't. He's stuck in the body of his lich character.
Oh my.
All the NPCs turn to life.
Oh my.
And it kind of just like, you think it's going to be like, oh, it's going to be like this general like adventure anime where it keeps building. No, it dives right into like political warfare.
Huh.
It's pretty good. So Momonga, or Ainz Ungol, whatever his name is that he goes by nowadays, he's a very interesting character as he kind of like wrestles a little bit with his own humanity, what he wants to accomplish in the world, and also just juggling the personalities of like the NPCs that were like now servants in his guild that are actually like fully sapient people, and dealing with that, and coming to terms of like how an actual leader should look and stuff, because he's never dealt with that.
Okay.
It's pretty good. Yeah, so I would say Ainz Ungol he's a very powerful character, because he has a lot of like magical abilities, because he's like max level in the world and whatnot. But he constantly delves into areas where he's not fully equipped.
Okay.
Like social politics.
Oh my.
And stuff like that. Because it's like you're dealing with other nations and stuff like
right.
that. And like spying and like trying to do resource acquisition. I'm like, those aren't things where you go into a dungeon and hit the boss on the nose and take your gold.
Right.
So it's a very clever show.
So here's a complex one. What do you think about the Protag in Sword Art Online versus Sword Art Online Abridged?
Abridged?
I want to pin the Protag against itself in this state.
Kirito is a horrible protagonist.
In which one?
The original.
Okay, so
it's a horrible protagonist. It's a horrible antagonist. The writing is like drinking barf gravy. It makes me sad. It makes me want to just it makes me want to just like suck on the end of like a dirty vacuum, just like suck out all my air and just suffocate me. No, that show is
okay, but then
but the abridged version that Team 4-Star did here on YouTube, which I highly recommend you watch. Just type in Sword Art Online Abridged, and you'll find it, and it's fantastic.
Agreed.
It's like half the length of the original show. It has more context, and everything is more believable, because they make him an asshole.
Better voice acting.
Oh, 10 out of 10 voice acting. I can't say enough good things about it. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
They make him a good character because they give him a personality to work with, and actually like character arc and like struggle, because he has like attachment issues.
Right.
Because Kirito in the original, he's overpowered. He's boring. He doesn't learn anything. Asuna is just a damsel in distress, but she's powerful too, apparently. It's boring.
She's really good at cooking, guys.
Right, she maxed that skill out hard.
She got sandwiches on point.
Yeah. Whereas, I haven't even seen Gun Gale Online, Sword Art Gun Gale Online.
I want to.
Which I heard's good. I haven't even seen it, and I'm already just going to say the whole entire plot's better. The antagonist, protagonist, whatever. It's better.
It's gotta be.
I mean, there's more talent in my dog's shit than this show.
Oh, God.
There is. I'm not exaggerating. It's very true.
Oh.
Yeah, so going down the list of things we also watched. Oh, man, this show is terrible. You remember the Sonic X animation?
Okay, so I never watched the animation. The game was life. The animation was not
I'm not talking about the game.
The game is not something...
The game was great.
No, I
Okay, so we're gonna have to watch Sonic X together.
I'm not sure I want to.
I'm gonna watch Sonic X by myself again and review it.
I don't want to ruin Sonic for myself.
Oh man, it was a hard pill to swallow.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. No, it was. I just have flashbacks to that show, like seeing it on like Cartoon Network or something, and just being disappointed.
Is there a Sword Art Online 2?
Yeah.
Oh my god, there is.
Yeah, we're looking at our list of things we've seen and such. But yeah.
Not okay. Not okay.
Yeah. No, it's I guess another protagonist I wasn't super all about was what's his name? Sorry, I'm terrible at names. You're just gonna have to bear with me through the podcast, but I don't think that has anything to do with me being stupid. I'm just stupid.
Oh
Clearly.
my. Oh my.
Was Meliodas from the Seven Deadly Sins. Not Seven Mortal Sins, which I already covered, which I hate the protagonist of that. Maria! Hate you. I hate Maria.
Okay.
She's boring.
Oh.
But Meliodas isn't that great either, because he eventually gets plot development, but the other characters are just so much well written. Also, Elizabeth is one of the worst side characters I've ever seen in a show, because she's so useless.
Okay.
She's so useless. But like characters like King or Bon or Deanne, or they're just way more fun to follow.
Okay.
So it was one of those situations where your side characters really overshadow your main characters.
Yep, and I think that is a huge issue writers don't always take into context. They want to create either cool best friends or they want to create cool villains, and ultimately it overshadows their main character to such a point where no one's really interested in the main character anymore.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's just, ugh. But no,
Oh god, Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yu-Gi-Oh! Who remembers Yugi? Was he a good protagonist, you think?
Actually, that is one thing I can say. I did like him. I liked him. I didn't like the show.
You know who I liked? Looking back at the show.
Okay.
I liked Tristan.
Oh.
Because he's the ultimate dude bro friend. Because he doesn't know about anything about the game, hardly. He's just there supporting his friends on this island that's run by a maniac. And he's like, hey man, we're gonna get through this. I don't even play this game, but I believe in you, dude. How our friendship.
Oh,
and what was the girl's name? Was it...
I don't even... That was so long ago, Alex.
I know.
So long ago.
We're going back.
Oh, God.
And we can't forget our best man, Joey Wheeler.
Stop.
I love me some Joey Wheeler.
You got way more into that than I ever did.
That's because I actually watched it.
It's because you collect the cards.
Used to.
You used to, but still have them.
I do, yeah.
Nerd.
Yeah.
Nerd.
You have Pokemon cards, nerd.
My Pokemon cards are being held hostage. Thank you very much.
Alright, we're not going to talk about how the FBI has Bree's Pokemon cards. Now, since we've just kind of jumped around a bit, so let's talk about, does the protagonist truly make or break a series? And can their flawed writing and portrayal be overcome depending on the setting and surrounding cast, or are they just doomed to mediocrity?
Okay, so for the make or break part, I think that is dependable on... maybe the story, because like again with
how character driven it is.
Fate Apocrypha.
Yeah, Fate Apocrypha had a large cast of characters, and it was just so spread out. Albeit it spread itself a bit thin because that show needed 30 more episodes to be a little bit more concrete. Right,
but it didn't. Because we can't really say we can pick out a protag. I don't think, considering characters were knocked out as the show went. It was like Game of Thrones. You couldn't fall in love with any one character because you never knew who was going to die.
I mean, you can, but you're just going to be sad.
Exactly. Well, protect your heart, Alex. Protect your heart.
I am gentle. I can't do that.
So I think that it can make or break a series depending upon how the series is created.
I think it's also the genre, too, because if you watch like something that's like an adventure anime or something, if it has a large cast, the protagonist doesn't have as much weight.
Right.
Or has the opportunity not to have as much weight. But if it's a romance, and you can't stand the main character, like School Days, which I will be talking about, oh boy, that is unwatchable garbage.
There is one adventure anime, Americanized, I'll bet, but that it would make or break if the protag wasn't there. Ash Ketchum. Come on, if he was not in Pokemon, for some reason, they're just like, yeah, we're gonna ditch this guy, or we're gonna make him suddenly super boring.
Did you ever see the new Pokemon series they did with Red as the main character?
No, but I heard it was okay.
Okay, I really liked it, because it wasn't Ash.
But I'm just saying, like, as a kid, seeing Ash disappear or seeing him become boring would have probably broken the show for me.
Seeing him turn to stone broke me.
You had to go there.
I did.
You had to go there.
I don't play fair.
You had to go there.
Yeah. But no, I think it really depends on the genre, because it's something that's, like, character-driven, that's driving the plot, that's, like, their motives and stuff, especially with, like, romance or drama or any of those kind of things. If you can't stand the main character, you're just not watching the show, most likely. But if it's, like, a shonen anime or something, and I'm like, you could probably get past it and have it be watchable.
Okay.
Yeah. That's my main thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because... But then there's, like, the odd things. It's like, if One Punch Man had a bad protagonist, nobody would watch the show.
True. Very true.
I mean, you don't watch it for Cyborg Boy in that show. You watch it for Saitama. Because he's relatable. You have empathy towards this man. Because he achieves something we fear, and that is getting to the pinnacle of your field or skills or whatever, and nothing's fun anymore.
Okay.
You're just, it's boring. It's monotonous. So that's what I think resonates with a lot of us.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's very heavily dependent, genre dependent. So let's talk about favorite protagonist moments and worst protagonist moments that from like people we liked and disliked.
All right, sure, I got one.
Sure.
Go back to Fate Stay Night.
Okay. Big Fate fans here.
You got, what was his name? Shiro? Chiro, whatever. He could be a churro for all I care. I don't like him. Anyway, there is a moment in the show. There's one moment in particular I can remember in which his character could have meant everything to me.
Yeah.
Depending on his next move. And he blew it. The writers blew it. The writers made an amazing first half of that show and blew it when they got rid of the little girl.
The little girl.
His sister.
Oh,
the homunculus.
Sakura. Not Sakura. Sorry.
The homunculus.
The Ainsburn girl.
The homunculus little girl.
It was Ilia.
Yes. She even calls him brother. And he does not catch on at all. He doesn't catch on. He doesn't get the hint. He doesn't want to figure out anything. And he, in that moment, is just nothing to me. Is absolutely nothing, because he could have developed and seen something that he should have seen, and instead the writers went a wrong way, the show ended in the wrong way. It was just it was the exact first show ending again, and it pissed me off to no end that happened. They had this amazing plot point where they could have turned things in such a deep way and made it so amazing, and I'll just rewrite the show. That's it. I'm going to rewrite it.
So that's a bad one. So one of my favorite protagonist moments was in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Stardust Crusaders, was when Jotaro beat Dio. That was pretty big for me, because like he used Dio's ability against him, like Zawilda. It was no, that's literally what it is. It was great. It was such a cool show. Ended up because they had really cool like villains that came in with like episode after episode, and then they culminated on that, and they hit it on like the perfect note, and it was pretty good. Like that was a very like character capturing moment where they just tipped it off right there, and I was like, you know, I'm good with that. And then they brought him back in season 4 to help Josuke, which was fun.
Okay.
But that was a character moment that I really liked.
Okay.
Character moment that I didn't like, that was just a complete burnout for me. I think if I had to go back and really think about this, it'd be like... I'm trying to think of something. I'm trying to think of a good anime that really like disappointed me at one point, because I can pick out something bad.
Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z. I'm used to like what Goku
Naruto.
does. Naruto.
Let's be real. No one liked the Protag.
Okay, so I recently watched a little bit of Boruto, right?
What?
I did. Research purposes. I have to do this. Naruto had a really good scene. That actually is probably my favorite thing that he ever did, and it wasn't even in his own series.
What the heck?
I know. It was episode 62. Watch it. I don't want to spoil it.
It's his last chance at a survival in this anime world.
Why you gotta be ironic about what I'm talking about? You cruel person. Oh, you're terrible. How dare you undermine my, like, heartfelt reasoning of why...
Oh,
okay.
God.
Okay, so... We're not going to get much out of that, apparently, but let's talk about... Does a Mary Sue or Gary Stu character always run a protagonist?
Define Mary Sue.
Someone that's just... They have no problems with the world. They're overpowered, quote-unquote. And they have no, like, need to, like, do anything. So think about this, like... You familiar with the term Mary Sue?
Not in this sense. It's a name.
Right, so they use it in, like, fanfics most of the time.
Okay.
So the most, like, obvious example I can give like, is I put in my own original character in Sailor Moon. It's Sailor Sun, or something stupid like that.
I blow up everyone.
She's got all the powers of all the other Sailor Scouts. She's now the main character.
Oh
She's
my
best
God.
friends with everybody.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's stuff like that. It's like, you see that, and you can't relate to that because it's so poorly written and ham-fisted in that it's like, there's no growth. They're already perfect, and we can't relate to that because the human condition is not perfect.
Okay. You're gonna be mad at me for this one.
Sure.
So, although I love the show, The Gambling School, what was that show
Kakegurui.
called? Kakegurui. Loved it. I still think the Protag was the boy, and I think that the Mary Sue was the transfer student coming in.
Yeah.
Killing off everyone's gambling game, and just, in the end, like, existing with the other gamblers. Not even taking over, not changing the morale of the school, nothing.
Okay, that's
just beating everyone and being done with it.
That's more of a plot issue rather than a specific character
No,
issue,
that's what she does, though. She literally comes in and says, "Oh, you want a challenge? I figured out how you tried to challenge me, and I win every single time."
She doesn't win every single time. She loses to Brock Girl, the girl that has, like, lines for eyes.
Oh my God.
She does lose to her.
Barely.
Yeah, but she loses.
But that's just it, is they, like, threw in one, like, okay, here, you're not perfect, but you're, like, perfect.
And if you're watching that show is a suspense show.
It is.
If you're not watching that for pure character development, you're watching for what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I would say that I wouldn't even go into it for character development, because there isn't too much of it.
It's just an exciting ride. It's not a show that's going to get a season 2.
Exactly. It's one where...
Because how do you up the stakes from that? I mean, you can,
maybe,
but then it just becomes a power scaling issue.
Right.
Yeah, and then it just becomes Dragon Ball Z.
I don't know, in all honesty...
Dragon Ball Z-itis.
In honesty, it reminded me of, and although, once again, I love the show for the thrill aspect, House, the doctor who can always fix the patient. Always. All the illnesses.
That's his shtick.
Always. But that's just it. It's like, no one can figure out this illness, and then... I got it. And he goes and he fixes everything with one thing.
So where do you think the breaking point is, though, between someone that you expect them to do the thing, compared to, oh, he's doing the thing again? Because that's a hard line to draw in the sand.
Maybe when you can't guess what's going on. I think that's what Kakegurui got right, is you really couldn't guess how people were cheating. Okay,
so you'd say the line in the sand is when you know it's going to get fixed by this person. When you know it's just going to be another monotonous obstacle that's going to be put into a nice little tidy box and just solved immediately.
Kind of. When you can predict the outcome is when it's an issue.
Yes, especially if it's a show that's for the age group of over 12.
Right.
That's when it becomes just like, of course. Sure. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, you could go back to Sailor Moon on that and be like, she almost always won. Like, the team just always kind of won.
And it's like not being able to empathize with the characters. I mean, that's why people are complaining about The Last Jedi with Rey. Right. Yeah, people didn't like her as a character.
That's sad, because I actually did like her, because I thought she was different.
She's different, but I think it was the wrong kind of different. I think they went in the wrong direction.
I don't know. I liked her. I just wish I knew more about her. But the other thing is, you have to remember, though, they kind of didn't really tell you if she was important born or if she was, like, the entrance to just random people knowing the Force and it coming to fruition.
And we ended up getting an answer to that.
yeah, but it's, you know, it...
Right. The Force Awakens had a good setup to
Right.
it, and The Last Jedi just kind of popped a squat.
Right.
Yeah, but no, she's the example of a Mary Sue, because people are like, oh, she just, like, knows the Force and stuff and can beat Luke Skywalker, and, like,
well,
all
she
that
didn't
things.
even beat Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, she, like, dueled him a little bit.
Luke Skywalker?
Yes!
But not
Watch
like...
the movie!
No, but not... No, not quite like that. I wouldn't say that she beat him as much as he wasn't trying to kill her.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Again, just bad writing. We know that's bad writing. Let's get back on topic. We're an anime channel, not a movie channel. Yet. We still have live action movies to talk about later.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's going to be another episode. That's going to be probably like a whole dealio. Probably like an hour of just complaining about live action. So, ready your butts.
So, for Mary Sue, one last thing. I almost thought of Psyche Kate as a Mary Sue. Because he had the answer for everything. He could fix everything. He had an answer for the things that he needed to fix. But the show, as it developed, also developed his flaws.
He has a lot of flaws.
Yes. And that is what saved it. Because I think in the first 5 or 6 episodes, I would have been like,
oh, it's just
you just have an all-powerful kid with pink hair.
Right. And then you discover, like, you have a dude that has, like, severe, like, antisocial disorder and stuff like that.
He has no control over his abilities once his little antennas come out.
Yeah, he just goes brain dead and just shit happens.
Exactly. So it's like he's literally reliant on these 2 little pieces of metal drilled into his head. Mm-hmm. And that's it. That's all he's got to save him. He has not built any actual mental strength to fix that.
Yeah. Talking about... Goddamn. I remembered another protagonist I like. Kazuma from Konosuba.
I don't think I know that one.
Had Aqua, the girl that was screaming a lot that you couldn't watch.
Oh, God. That's when I went in the bathroom and, like, left you because I couldn't stand whatever was happening.
Nobody likes Aqua.
It was
but
so
Kazuma
annoying.
is best boy. And then also talking about good protagonists and stuff, we have to... obligatory mention of Hero Academia and Deku. Because you have to. Because the people that watch the animes on the internets and stuff, they like them some Deku from Hero Academia. And some All Might. Plus Ultra. Okay. So let's talk about, does a good protagonist actually interacting with a sub-character, interacting with the sub-characters, or are they just a bunch of random strangers lumped together cause reasons for plot reasons? Does that make a good protagonist or a bad protagonist? If, like, do they actually have to interact with their characters, or is it better if they're just, like, or does it even work if they're just strangers and they just kind of work together?
So, I think that having good sub-characters, side characters, whoever's around them, the ability to create relationships with them is really important to me, because it shows that we're not doing the Mary Sue thing, where it's literally just about them, and that's it.
Right.
Right? So, even when we go to Castlevania, right, he wasn't the main protagonist. What's his name again?
Trevor.
He's not alone the entire time. You kind of find out that he's a badass, and he's cool, and he likes drinking and all those things. But then... I
mean, I like all those things, too.
But then he goes to help some people, and along the way of helping people, he finds, someone who has also some power. And is like... He
finds a sexy mage.
He finds
and
a
his
sexy
even
mage.
Sexier vampire companion.
And is just like, he is not the center of the world anymore because he now is joined together with these other powerful beings, right?
Right.
So, I think that, yes, having the side characters, the sub-characters, to give any sort of little bit of subplot is super important to having a successful show.
Yeah. So, we're going to probably wrap this up pretty soon, but I have to... Peter's freaking out, sorry. I have to make special mention to these 2 protagonists / antagonists, because this show is what partially inspired this channel. I'm talking about Pop Team Epic.
What?
I know. If you're not familiar with their work, it is the best worst show ever, or the worst best show ever. However you want to label it.
Fix it.
It's... Yeah. Popko and Peepee are some of my favorite protagonists, just like things of characters in a show, just because the show itself is so weird. It is one of the weirdest shows I've ever watched, and it's terrible when you look at it from like a glance. If you looked at it for like 5 seconds, you'd be like, "This is trash. I'm not watching this." But if you watch the whole thing and get into the mythos of the show, and really start to understand what it means, it's like an analysis on like human cognition and like psychology.
Okay.
You're gonna have to watch this, Brie.
Oh God.
It just makes you go, huh. It leaves you confused and baffled. It leaves you with a stir of emotions.
Okay.
That doesn't sit right with like other shows. Like, you don't know what's going on at all. Anytime.
Okay.
Like, there's a weird subplot in the background with some kind of villains, which are the studio makers, like the studio producers or something of the studio that's making Pop Team Epic.
Okay.
Or something like that, and it's really meta and weird at some points, but it is honestly my current favorite show.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, Pop Team Epic. It's the reason why I'm watching bad anime. Is because nothing can stand up to that as being the king of bad.
Oh God.
Because it's so good.
No.
Yes. We're gonna watch them after this. We're gonna have to.
No.
I have to show you the way.
I'd rather play Doki Doki Literature Club.
That's discussion for another time, because we could probably talk about an hour about Doki Doki Lit Club.
It's everything.
It's a lot of things. Mainly Monica, but
best Protag ever.
she is definitely not the Protag.
I would beg to differ. She tries really hard to be the Protag.
Okay, let's not dive too deep into this. Yeah, so let's think about things we've talked about protagonists. So good, we've talked about good, the bad, the boring, what makes them stand out, being overpowered. Do you think being underpowered is something that works to people's benefit? Or do you think it's just... Or if there's somebody, like, doesn't have anything going for them, it's just, like, unwatchable because you're just, like, I don't want to watch somebody that can't accomplish anything. Like Attack on Titan. Like Eren.
You need to have flaws as a human while also having some strengths. You have to.
Right, because if you're just flaws, what are you? It's like, I don't want to watch a show about me.
You are a flaw in the show.
Right? Like, if I just watch a show about regular-ass me, I'd be really sad and bored.
You're not flawed.
I know, but I'm saying for other people that are flawed like that, because not everybody's me.
Right. I forgot that when we have a completely flawed character, the people watching who are flaws in themselves are just going to be like, they made a show about me.
Yeah, they watch anime. They know who they are.
Stop.
Is that too mean? It's probably too mean.
I guess it depends on who we're talking about.
I'm just crazy and egotistical, don't mind me.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I know, you are too. Quiet.
I am subjective with my ego, thank you.
Oh.
Thank you.
Let me just chalk that down as a good. As a good character trait.
Mm-hmm. Subjective with ego.
Subjective. I see what you're getting at. I'm smelling what you're cooking in your anime kitchen.
Oh. It's really tiny, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever watch Food Wars?
I feel like I have, but
I haven't.
Sure.
I've heard weird things about it.
I think I actually have, because I think the Fine Brothers did an episode where an actual chef made some of the food from that show.
Okay.
And the kids got to try it.
Why does the food from that show always look pornographic?
What?
Is it just me that like food and anime just looks pornographic? Like I was watching Dagashi Kaishi. I did not end up liking the show, but it wasn't bad. It just wasn't for me. But the food that they sometimes portrayed in that show, from like being like regular like snacks and stuff, they're just like they present it. It's like, oh, undo the wrapper real slowly, and it's just like if you added some like really bad like banging 70s music, you'd have a completely different show. Anyways, we've gotten pretty off track now, so we're gonna wrap it up here. This has been Alex and Bree with Trash Talk on Trash Anime Analysis. Signing out. What we got upcoming next, I guess we'll do a little blurb about that. So I got another review coming out soon. I finally found a place to watch Mars of Destruction, which is apparently one of the worst anime ever created. So I've not yet watched it yet.
You say that every time.
I haven't, though. I'm saving myself because I want it to be a wholesome experience that I can enjoy in private.
Oh, God.
And then, Bree, are you going to start helping contribute to this channel more?
If you want me to.
I think so. She's going to probably talk about Sailor Moon Crystal a little bit in the future.
God, that horror.
Yeah, so that's what we got coming out soon enough. If you have any suggestions, drop them in the comments section below. Like, subscribe, dislike, comment.
Correct us on anything.
Email it to your professor. I don't care. Do what you want. Watch this with your dog because you love your dog. And if you're not a dog person, then you're probably a parakeet person. So...
I just thought of the little girl and the dog. No.
We're traumatized over here. This is traumatized anime analysis.
Traumatized trash talk.
Yeah. We're sad garbage over here. Alright. Anyways, this has been our podcast, so we'll be coming back to you probably around next week sometime with another discussion. We might have another guest. Who knows? We might mix it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Get some more conversation going on. Mainly it's just finding someone else to harass.
True.
So we'll keep in touch with that, and with that, see you all later.
Bye.